Hello and welcome to the first Christmas Lace Notes of 2025. Who would have thought that it would be 4 years since I started my epic Christmas movie a day and that this would carry on each year? If you don't have time to listen to the podcast, then you can always go on to the blog, which is thelacebee.com/the Christmas Lace Notes, and read the blog there. There's also links to some of the things I'm going to talk about in there and some photos to illustrate what we're discussing here. So this one is Creative Christmas, Making, Mending and Meaning. It's a celebration of handmade gifts, gentle crafting rhythms and the quiet joy of creating. There is a moment each year when the evenings draw in, the kettle clicks on, and familiar thoughts begin to wander towards handmade gifts. Maybe it's because Kirsty's Handmade Christmas has started, you're watching old reruns of that, perhaps you're watching other crafting programs or looking at the note that says it's time to finish your Christmas order for your online shopping. We're past Thanksgiving for our American friends, Black Friday's gone, Cyber Monday, and now I'm finding that it's getting dark before 4:30, and setting my lights to come on in the morning an hour before sunrise isn't actually turning them on at the time we get up because sunrise is getting later. Some years the list that I have to make feels ambitious. I only do 3 sets of presents outside of hubby, my 2 siblings and his sister. Other years it feels like a comforting ritual filled with memories of projects past. Christmas has always been a season of making for me, when within that general routine I often find the calm that December sometimes forgets to offer. Crafting by hand brings a stillness that helps us notice small details. It slows the rush around us and creates pockets of peace. Whether it's making lace, Christmas cards, knitting a present or crocheting, every stitch or twist feels like a pause in an otherwise busy month. The annual dance of cows, a knit vent, knit-alongs, crochet-alongs. Anyone who knits or crochet knows the seasonal excitement when designers begin publishing their Christmas collections. Knit-alongs and crochet-alongs appear alongside social groups, each one promising a shared journey and a reason to pick up familiar tools. For me, Knit Vent by Helen Stewart has become a cherished tradition. I subscribe each year, beginning in November, with the best intentions. The patterns arrive in gentle weekly drops that feel like small gifts. And without fail, I manage not to knit any of the patterns. I have all the yarns needed to make a dust of snow, which I've had since the pattern was released in November 2019. I've just not got around to making it yet. Maybe over Christmas this year. Oh, who am I kidding? Lace makers and the gift of sharing. Lace making has its own Christmas traditions. Many of us exchange handmade decorations with our lace friends. These small pieces, often stitched during pockets of free time, carry stories of shared classes, well-travelled pillows, friendships measured in pins rather than years. A tiny lace angel or snowflake has a way of joining the maker to the recipient long after the tree is taken down. The act of making lace for someone else feels different to making lace for displays. A number of groups will participate in decorating a tree in the local church, which is great, but for me it's giving it to somebody who wants it and who will use it. It's more personal, more thoughtful and often more nostalgic. Decoration becomes a yearly reminder of the connection between 2 lace makers and the craft that binds them. One Christmas I decided that I was going to do handmade cards again. Rod from my own back I started back in the late 1990s, and I made a Christmas decoration from, once again, the wonderful Christine Springett's books. And I made one for every single person that I was going to send a card to in my immediate circle. It was interesting to see just who didn't say anything about it. As hubby said, next year, no handmade card for them. It's probably why I only really send 3 cards now. Handmade cards and the creative inspiration for them are another way of doing something that takes you out from the hustle and bustle of Christmas and just gives you a little something that's extra. Christmas cards offer a space for creativity. I often revisit Mary Wu's tutorials when I try something different. Her calm explanations and clear steps make each design approachable, which is precisely what my December brain needs. A handmade card feels like a gift in its own right. It becomes something to keep rather than something routine. Last year, I actually painted cards, which for me is way out of my comfort zone. This year, when we went to the Christmas market at Chatsworth, we were in the shop and we saw some beautiful hand-printed cards and decided that that was what we were going to buy for a couple of the cards, and another one that we saw that really spoke about the person we were sending it to. Knowing that somebody's taken the time to make something that you've bought is also lovely. I bought Christmas cards from a local artist who I taught lace to one year. Apart from supporting her and her work, it was lovely to share the beautiful designs that she'd done with other people. Then there's the family gifts and the reality of time. For as long as I can remember, I've made presents for my siblings and for my husband's sister. This tradition began as a budget-friendly solution when I was younger and has grown into something more meaningful. Over the years, these gifts have ranged from lace and knitting accessories to sewn pieces and handmade ornaments. There was the year when I kind of got a bit carried away and decided to knit a blanket, which was supposed to be a small throw, ended up being about the size of a small single bed. Luckily, I started that year in September and just finished before my cut-off of always the 23rd of December. Because basically, if you can get it in the post, then it can turn up on Christmas Eve if you send it special delivery. Next day, signed for. Pacing yourself really matters. A project made slowly with care holds far more joy than one rush to meet a calendar deadline. Last year reminded me of this more than most. 2 of my presents I wanted to do sat unfinished in my project bags. Although I felt frustrated at first, I admitted that time had run away from me. Those unfinished pieces became this year's early projects. Of course, I haven't actually finished them this year and they will probably be done next year. But letting go of self-imposed pressures can feel surprisingly calm. Making, mending and meaning. Handmade gifting is not just about the finished objects. It's about the quiet moments spent choosing colours, the soft clink of bobbins, the steady rhythm of knitting needles, and the comforting repetition that helps us settle into ourselves. Crafting supports reflection and brings meaning into the month that can otherwise become crowded with lists and obligations. Mending also fits within this time frame and this theme. Repairing a decoration, strengthening an old lace piece, providing blocking for something you previously knitted brings its own satisfaction. I knitted an Andrea Murray shawl, which I didn't realise quite how long it was going to be. It's lovely, but it folds up on itself. I wore it to the Chatsworth Christmas market where we got rather wet and decided that this was the time to actually block it. It takes up the entire length of our table, and the table's very, very big. Christmas offers encourages us to look back. Mending connects us with stories embedded in these older pieces. So to finish this off, I've put together a gallery of some of the Christmas makes that I've made over the years. You can find that on the blog. And you can see some of the things I've done over time. shawls as presents, blankets I've knitted, hats. You know, it's just a small history of creative Christmas season and the quiet joy that runs through those pieces. Hope you enjoyed this, and there's still time to finish something off before Christmas, even if it's just for yourself.